Greetings viewers, welcome back to Kenny Chan's channel, aka 讲车仔. Finally, I think it's about time for me to review my new car. Now, if you've been following my channel for quite some time, you know that my previous car is actually that bright blue rally inspired Proton EV, and since then that car has been moved on to my brother's hands. And I've also driven a couple of cars around, mainly my dad's Nissan Almera and my mom's Toyota Vios. So in the meantime, I was trying to convince my parents, you know what, I'm going to get a new car. And here it is. This is the 2023 Proton Saga Premium S. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Proton Saga is actually our national car brand's first car. It has been through 3 generations. The one that in the video currently is the 3rd generation, 2nd facelift, aka the MC2. And so how I got this car? Well, it's actually a very interesting story, because this car originally, when I look at the first facelift, aka the MC1, back then I was thinking about, you know what, I'm going to get this car. And at that point I don't have the funds to do it, and then after a while I was thinking, you know what, I really wanted the Saga, and now I own it. I can happily say that I own this car. And so without further ado, let's take a look around this car. So right off the bat, let's take a look at the front. So the front right here, it features halogen headlights and not LED headlights, as a lot of people might expect, and me too. So I cannot say I felt disappointed, because that's what it meant to be. It is a facelift after all, and people need to think about the budget costs, so they just went with the halogen headlights to keep the cost down. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much fair enough, considering what they're doing at this point, what Proton is doing at this point. So the front here, as you can see, there's also the LED DRLs, which later on I'm going to switch on the car and let you have a look at it. So the Premium S, it features this front skirt, and then this red, how can I say, the bow at the front, on the front grille. Now if you bought the other variants, they will come in silver instead on the MC2. Now on the MC1, it features a different logo with the chrome on the front, and not the red nor the silver. So fun fact, this new Proton logo is actually really close resemblance to the Thundercats logo. Us Malaysians, we just trying to keep joking about how this logo looks like the Thundercats logo. And let's move on to the sides. Now, my particular car features an aftermarket, well, semi-aftermarket should I say. This wheel is actually from the Saga MC1. The Saga MC2 had a different wheel, which I'm going to put the picture on the screen right now. So this particular wheel, why did I went with it? Well, because I think this wheel looks way better than the previous stock wheels that it came with, the stock 4-spoke shuriken wheels. And they're both 15 inches. This particular car is currently wearing the 185 5515 tires by Atlas, and Atlas is actually a sub-brand of Linglong. So I mean, when it comes stock, I'm just gonna use it until it wears out, and then I'm just gonna move on to better tires. And let's take a look at the side here. And if you notice, this car's proportion is actually not that bad. For an A-segment sedan, it's actually a really good looking car. Judging from our Malaysian local market, we had the Beza, we had this, and the Beza looks like it has a really tall rear end. Meanwhile, this one had a really proportion look in my eyes. So yeah, I really like the design of this car. Now sorry there's a sound because I'm currently inside of a parking garage in the shopping mall somewhere, so you can hear some voice disturbance, you know, in the background. Like currently it's about to rain outside, and yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, let's move on to the rear. So the rear of this car is actually really not that bad looking. A lot of people said the rear is not that good looking. I personally don't think so. I think this rear end looks just fine for me, especially if you look at it from the dead on rear end view. You can look at the bumper. You can see it features the side vent design, just like the AMGs, the Mercedes AMGs of this time, around 2019, 2020-ish, and Proton decided to borrow the design of the Mercedes AMGs, should I say the AMG line, and put it on the Saga as well. And so how to differentiate the MC2 and MC1 from the rear end? Now a lot of people might be asking how to differentiate. So the MC2, especially on the Premium S, you get this black garnish on the Proton lettering at the background, and then you get the black trim underneath at the diffuser for the Premium S variants. For the MC1, the trim underneath here is chrome, and then the background here is actually body colored. So in this case, if you buy a gray car, it will be gray over there. If you buy a red car, it will be a red over there. So yeah. And as for the tail lights, so the tail lights on this car, unfortunately, is not LED even. Every single lights in here is halogens. And that includes the reverse, the signals, and then the running lights and the brake lights. And on the Saga VVT, especially the 2016 CVT ones, the tail lights, I've been noticing a lot of the cars on the road on that particular batch, the tail lights has been faded away, the red, and I have no idea why does it happen like that. Maybe they gone with the aftermarket reproduced tail lights, I don't know. So yeah, and there's a couple of them I spotted with the running lights burned out, which is how can I say, unfortunate, because this tail light design is actually really good looking. With one bolt missing, it just kind of looks off. And another fun fact, if you look at the position of my number plate here, and this number plate placement is actually perfect. It is dead on, straight on at the center, if you know what I mean. Because there's a couple of Sagas out there with their number plates off center, and it kind of bothers me every time I look at it, and I just can't stand to look at it. So yeah, I'm really glad that my particular dealer, they installed the plate really nicely. I'm really glad that they did that. So yeah, and let's move on to the left side. So this particular car is actually an A segment car, so it's not that big. As you can see from the parking space, it's not really that big. And for a non-big car, it's actually quite spacious inside, and quite a lot of goodies as well. Because honestly, for the price of this car, it's actually really a good bargain. So yeah, without further ado, let's gonna move on to the interior. Right, so get to the interior. So to get to the interior is actually really easy, because this is a Premium S, the full spec variant. It came with how can I say, this button on the door handles here as a keyless entry. So not only it does have a keyless entry, it also have auto fold mirrors. As you press the unlock, the mirrors will fold out, and if you press the button again, it will just fold in. So without further ado, let's unlock it. and move on to the interior. Right, so this particular car, the interior is actually not that bad. Excuse for the very granny looking carpets on the seats, because I'm not trying to ruin the seats as time moves on, so I need to protect the seat underneath. That's why I put these. And let's take a look at the door panels here. So what you get here is actually really basic. You get your plastic door cards, you get your power window switches, you get your window lock switches, and your mirror adjustment switches over here. And then you also get the cup holder along with the door pocket, and the grab handle is over here. Now let's move on to the interior. And because it's quite hot out, so I'm just gonna close the doors up and then start the car. Right, so the interior of this car, let me just switch on the lights here. Oh, by the way, the interior lights, they are LEDs. And let me just move the seat to the back, and here we go. So this particular interior is actually really interesting because the way they lay out is actually simple yet really nice looking, because you get your screen here, and then you get your aircon vents down here, because previously the aircon vents is actually more below, and it kind of ruins the purpose of being an aircon vents, because you need to blow it to your face and not to your hands on the steering wheel. Even though this particular design is still kind of occasionally blow the aircon, the air conditioning to your hands while you're holding the steering wheel, like over here for instance. So it's a cool design nonetheless, but it just needs a lot more improvement in my eyes. So on the driver's side over here, what you can see is actually a pretty cool, a nice backlit meter cluster. So right now I've driven 5,518 kilometers as of the filming of this particular video in October of 2023. And the meter cluster is actually really simple. It features a red design rings around this, and then let me just push the buttons right here. So what you get is your expected mileage in terms of the fuel, and then you get your trip A, trip B, and then you get your this is the average liters per 100 kilometers. The car will automatically calculate it for you. And oh yeah, this is the average. Just now is the current usage of fuel. So this is the average. So 7.3 liters per 100 kilometer for a 1.3 liter car. It's actually really not bad. And so that's the basic information right there you get on your meter cluster. And then there's nothing else over here, which is surprising, because usually cars will integrate some features over here, but they don't. So yeah. And another thing that's quite weird, as you can see, there's your push start button. Because it's a keyless entry car, you get push start button. And they have this spot over here, which exists since the MC1 saga, and they didn't do the push start button over here, but they did. They put another push start button over here. So I have no idea why did they do that. Yeah, you can see another engine start stop button right here when it's supposed to be going there, and I don't get that either. So whatever. And the steering wheel is actually leather wrapped. It's pretty nice. It's pretty tight. It's quite a small steering compared to like some my previous car, like the Myvi. That Myvi I had a custom steering wheel on. That one is small, and when the original steering is on there, it's actually really big. So that's a plus point for me, because the steering is small, the turning radius is small. Because I'm working as a Grab driver right now, for those overseas viewers, this is basically like an Uber on your side. And when we get to some really tight house areas, like housing areas, we need to make a 3-point turn. This car is actually really good at doing that because of the small steering, easy to maneuver, and pretty much a lot of goodies in the handling of this car, which is a strong point, and which also is like one of the selling points of the Saga, or should I say Protons even. And on the steering, what it features is a leather wrap steering wheel with the red stitching, and then a new logo. The new logo is on the airbag cover. Previously you get the shield logo, as we call it, and you got your horn over here. I'm not gonna press it because we're currently inside of a shopping mall. People might think I'm weird for pressing the horn, which I'm not gonna. And there's your mute button, and also this is the button where you accept calls, and the volume up, volume down is over here, and then the next track, previous track, and your mode when you press to switch the mode between the screens. So yeah, there's all the controls right there, pretty basic controls, and it features some gloss black trim over here, which is looking pretty nice. And let me just switch down air conditioning because it's quite loud and it's quite hot, so I had to actually blast the air conditioning for a while. So the air conditioning controls is actually really simple. I don't know if you can see it because the lighting here is kind of weird, but please excuse me for that. So what you get here is actually the door lock and unlock button in the car. Yes, it features in the center console. So if I pressed it, and then if I press that, yeah, that's the unlock and lock button. And then there's your window defroster for the rear windows, on the rear windows only. And there's your hazards right there, and then there's your traction control button, and this is for the front parking sensors when you moving in a really low speed at your initial drive. So when you switch from P to which gear to move out from the parking space, this will trigger automatically, and it will trigger for a while. After you drive it, it will just trigger for a while, and then it will just shuts off on its own on drive. So, and then the air conditioning, this is where you control the temperature, this is your circulation, this is for your AC, and this is for your fan speed. So pretty simple controls, not so much to talk home about. And let me just move the talisman over here. So this is the party piece, shall I say. So this is actually the screen, and the screen itself is actually really simple to use. So what you need to do is just press the home button. There's one home button here, and then there's another home button here. So what you need to do, so this is the home screen, and it has easy connections, gallery that shows pictures through your USB, which the connection is down here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can't see it, but trust me, it's over here. And there's your gallery, and then there's your video, also access through your USB. And then there's the settings. So let me get to the settings, and then you can set your touch key tones, your time formats, and a lot of stuff. You can get a lot of stuff to be adjusted. And then this is for your automatic brightness adjustment, and if you press off, then you can adjust it, and then you will just keep constant brightness at that point no matter where you go. This is only for like when you drive it on the day, and then you will automatically adjust it to the night. And then as for this one, yes, it has an equalizer in a very cheap car, so it's actually really impressive, to be honest, to have a really cheap car with a really nice sound system, which I'm going to show afterwards, don't worry. So, and also you have your balance, the volume balance throughout the interior. And then there's also the loud button, which in my eyes it's not really necessary to switch on in this car, because the stock sound is really good already. So yeah, let me just move on to under functions. So you get your music over here, and listen to this. yeah, so basically the sound of this sound system is actually really good. uh, it's like a very good surround sound system for some reason, because the speakers is only on the door cards over here, somewhere over here, on 4 of the door cards, and it still sounds really good. So the functions over here pretty much the same as what you can get on the steering wheel. So you get your previous track, next track, and then there's your volume up, volume down. The volume up, volume down is, yes, a button, not like a physical knob. So yeah, some people might get mad with that, but I'm okay with it. And as for this one, this is for your track list. You can get through your different tracks, a lot of folders and such. And this is for your like a random play, or like play through the playlist. And this is your equalizer, back to that screen again. So yeah. And as for this one, this is your radio function, and this is for your phone function. When you have your Bluetooth connect, this is the theme. The theme is actually really lame in my eyes, because there's only 3 colors for the words. You can see the words over here. There's only 3 words, 3 colors for the words. Like you can see here right now is white, and then it turns green, and then it turns blue. So yeah, that's it, pretty basic. And then as for the wallpaper selection, there's only a pure black, the infinite weave pattern on the grill, like features on the grill, and then a Proton logo right here. So yeah, pretty simple. And this is the Proton logo is actually back to another version of the home screen. So me personally, I think usually you just stay in one screen and that's it. So for now, let's just get back to the music screen. And yeah, pretty simple car actually. The functions is all in the screen, and the meter cluster gives you a pretty good readout for your basic functions. And for now, as of now, I don't really have a lot of trouble with my Proton Saga even, albeit I did have a problem with the air conditioning just now. Before filming, it suddenly shuts off, so I need to go ahead and inspect that. So I don't know what is causing that issue, so let's just move on from that. And as for the gearbox, this car features a 4-speed automatic gearbox. So if you put it into reverse, you can see it pulls up the reverse camera. Yes, this car features a reverse camera. So if you put it back into park, you will instantly back to the screen previously it was. So there's your PRND S. So the S gear is actually they said it was a sport gear, so technically it's not really a sport gear. It's a 4th gear lockout for you to climb up hills, going downhill and such. So use that gear wisely. That's my advice, at least. And you got your traditional handbrake over here, and pretty much, yeah, very basic interior. I would rather say this car is actually not bad for the money you get. Like this car, brand new, I'm talking about around 46 or 50k in Malaysian money, so Malaysian ringgit. 50k Malaysian ringgit, that's actually really cheap for a car that is not actually that small. Look at the glove box. Yeah, the glove box is not that small even. And then the seats are leather wrap. It's leather wrap on the sides, on the side bolsters, but it was cloth padding in the middle, so you're not gonna get like burn leather feel every time you get into the car when under the hot sun. So that's a plus point for me. Personally, I think the leather provides you the grip on the side, which is needed, and then the cloth gives you the comfort for your back, so which is a good thing for me. And there's your sun visor. So the sun visor features a card holder, which I'm currently putting my touch and go in, and there's your mirror. So yeah, there's the sun visor. Now if you notice, my car kind of has a really bright view on the outside. That's because currently I still don't have tints installed, so If any teen specialists want me to promote their brand or whatnot, please do. I will promote your brand as much as I can for this car moving onwards, because there's going to be more videos on the transformations, though it might not be much, but it will still have transformations on in the upcoming projects. So yeah, that's this car right here. So yeah, let's just shut it down and let's make a little tour to the engine, shall we? Right, let's move on to the engine, shall we? So this particular car features the engine of a 1.3 liter engine VVT. So this engine puts out 94 PS and around 102, 103 ish foot-pound of torque. So it's a pretty healthy engine for such a small car. It's actually really good to drive around with the gearbox it paired with. It might not be fast in some people's eyes. It might not be quick, not as quick as the Proton Saga, definitely. But on the high speed, this engine provides you really good, how can I say, high speed sustainability. So personally, I think this engine works just fine for my driving. And as you can see in the engine bay, this car stock comes with a strut tower top bar stock. So it only came in the front, not on the rear, so keep in mind. And because of this strut top tower bar, the handling is actually improved better than the previous non-stock bar version of the Saga VVT. And there's your air intake right there, and then there's your air filter right here. Here's where you change your engine oil. A lot of things is just easily laid out, really easy to know, really easy to work on. So this car, even if you suffering from some maintenance issues, I would say it's actually a really good easy way to actually maintain this car. And it's really good for starters, is what I'm gonna say. And the car is actually really cheap price, really easy to maintain, though it might feature some issues from some certain batches of cars even. So that's the downside of it. But other than that, I think this car is actually a really good bargain for what it is. So without further ado, let me just close this hood up and let's make a conclusion. So in conclusion, I think the 2023 Proton Saga Premium S is actually a really good car. For the price, you get a really nice car, really nice premium features, a well-built car even, though it might suffer some issues. That's up to debate, but other than that, it's actually a really good car for the price you pay. And if you don't mind the stock wheels that it came with, you would definitely have a really easy car like to maintain, to drive as a stock car even. Personally, I just went for these aftermarket, should I say semi aftermarket wheels, and I just really like how these wheels look, man. So yeah, Proton Saga Premium S, a really good car for the price, a really good car to drive. So would I recommend this car for anybody? Personally, I would say yes. If you're looking for a car that is small, sedan with a really decent sized boot. Speaking of which, I forget to show the boot. So there's actually a button down here underneath the T. This is only features on the Premium S. So you press on it and you open up the boot. It's actually a really decent sized boot. I've put 2 XL luggages inside there and it fit just fine, so that's a plus. So excuse for my microfiber towel here and the free umbrella that the Proton SA give me. So yeah, the boot is actually really decently sized. And yeah, so this car is actually a really good bargain for anybody who wants to buy a car that is runabout, or maybe you're a fresh grad, or maybe you just want to have a car that is just driving about, or you want to use it as a grab car. I think this car is actually really decent. The rear seats are really comfort for your passengers, and the front seats you get your driver support, your seat support, and it works just fine. So overall, out of 10, how much scores I would give to this car? I would say an 8 out of 10. Now that's 2 points off, because personally I think this car would have been better with LED taillights, LED headlights, because the Proton Saga has been featuring both LED headlights and taillights for a while now. So I don't see why Proton didn't went for it. And another thing is that the aircon issue, the air conditioning, just now I've been suffering with, so I don't know what is causing that issue. I'm going to make an update once I found out what is the issue there. So yeah, other than that, pretty much a nice car, really nice to own, really nice to drive. Truly is what the Saga meant to be, you know, a really good car for the money, for your family, for you to drive. So that's it for this video, and please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please excuse for this really amateur video, because when talking about real cars, I'm kinda a little bit like suffer from like what I should speak, but when I'm talking about the Hot Wheels car, I can really speak out every single detail, so excuse me for that. But honestly, this is going to be more to come, shall I say. So yeah, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.